Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about a eerie case that has kind of stuck with me just cuz it's so weird. The case we are talking about is that of the Jusco Phantom. Jusco, of course, if you do not know, is a chain of markets in Japan. They had rebranded under the name Aeon. Um, but yeah, they're formerly known as Jusco Company Limited. And yeah, it's a Japanese diversified retail holding company, Aeon is. It is one of the largest retail companies in Japan, owning Aeon hypermarkets, Aeon Mall, and Aeon Town shopping malls. Um, what is that? Dai or Dai Max Value, Maruetsu, and My Basket supermarkets, mini stop convenience stores, Welcia drugstores, and Aeon Cinema movie theaters. So it's a big chain, and it actually goes all the way back to 1758 during the Edo period. So yeah, Japan was just opening up to the west. I think you still had samurais and everything. So yeah, but it was named Jusco. The name Aeon is a transliteration from the uh, Koine Greek word a love or Hoeon from the archaic Iwan. I don't speak ancient Greek. I'm sorry. The name and symbolism used in the branding implies an eternal nature of the company. But yeah. First, it was a separate organization, and then it merged with several other companies in 1970 and became Jusco, this giant multi outlet powerhouse. And now it's, of course, been rebranded to Aeon. So, that gives you a little history of the markets and everything that is Jusco, now known as Aeon. Now, the mystery itself, the Jusco Phantom, it's a bit of a weird, spooky one. Yeah. Let's see. I think from Creeper Nick. He's on TikTok and YouTube. He gives a nice synopsis here. I could have swore there was a bigger clip of the closed circuit television footage that we used to be able to see, but now this is all we can find is the still, the image. As you can see, the face looks very unusual. and somewhat disturbing. Almost like there's a possibility of it not being real, like it's a mask or something. But yeah, let's look at what he says here.
In 2004, an older gentleman would make a withdrawal from an ATM in a mall in Japan. Moments later, he would run into this strange woman. By the actions of this woman, some nearby mall patrons, and the police, the older man would die the next day.
Yeah. From what I understand, she confronted him at the ATM. And I don't know if it was necessarily a heart attack or a stroke or what, but I think they ended up taking him to the hospital, but he would die there. I believe. There's so much of the case that's just kind of unusual.
But let's just talk about the woman for a moment. Her face is strange, to say the least. Police, after realizing what had happened, released this image of her in an attempt to track her down. The craziest part is that despite the mall having cameras all over the place, she was never seen leaving. It's like she had just vanished, and she's known as the Jusco Phantom. For the full story, check out my YouTube channel if you're watching.
Jusco, of course, being Japanese, it would be Jusco. So, Jusco. Now, there is other pieces of footage. I think that was a different crime altogether. Okay, from Kyoto Roboto, he does a great piece on the Jusco Phantom. This video was from 3 years ago on YouTube. Again, there's few people who've done stories on it, but yeah.
On the 17th of February 2004, a 68-year-old man went to withdraw money from an ATM at a Jusco shopping center in Yokkaichi City, Mie Prefecture. This simple, routine action, however, would ultimately end with his tragic death. This is the true, unsolved mystery of the Jusco ATM Phantom.
Yeah, let's go back.
Unsolved mystery of the Jusco ATM.
See, you saw the other footage, and this is a more in-depth footage. Like, it's either something inhuman or it's a mask. But yeah, let's go ahead and let Kyoto Roboto continue.
ATM Phantom. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Japanese store brands, Jusco, before being renamed to Aeon, were large shopping centers. They usually contained grocery stores, clothing stores, 100-yen shops, and restaurants.
Maybe it is Jusco. Usually in Japanese language you have the single vowel pronunciations a, e, I, o, u. So usually it'd be Jusco. Now there may be a different word they're trying to copy, and usually you would have extra syllables added in because they would try to make it sound like a certain thing. And so there would often be new syllables added in. McDonald's, Makudanarudo is how the Japanese pronounce it. Makudanarudo. But I ain't here to try to teach you a lesson in Japanese. Yeah, just notation there.
Unlike most of these types of establishments, there were ATM corners available for shoppers so that they could withdraw cash. One day, an elderly gentleman, both hands occupied with shopping bags, went to withdraw money from an ATM at the Yokkaichi City Jusco. But he wasn't alone. Loitering around the ATM corner was a young woman, cradling a baby in a chest harness. She'd been...
So it's almost like she was waiting, expecting the right person to be almost like her victim. Because she looks like she's cradling a baby in a chest harness not far from this ATM.
lingering in the area for roughly 5 minutes before the man showed up, and had been keeping an eye on the place. As the man began to leave the ATM area after withdrawing his money, the woman approached him. She acted as though she intended to walk past, before purposely bumping into his shoulder. As the man stood, shocked and confused, the woman ran her hands over his body until she found his wallet, filled with the recently withdrawn money and cards. The man and woman wrestled over it. When she was unsuccessful in taking it from him, she grabbed the man's arm and collar and screamed, "Thief!"
Yeah, so this is a typical pickpocket method. She wanted to seem like she just accidentally bumps into you. Many a pickpocket will use this as an excuse to kind of brush past you to reach what they think the available score is at on your body. With both hands essentially still full, she thinks she should have no problem if she just like bumps into him. So, at that fact, the baby might not even be a real baby. Just something to make it look like she's preoccupied with something.
Drawing the attention of the people around her. 3 nearby shoppers and store clerks, seeing a man tussling over a wallet with a young woman holding a baby, decided that the man must be the criminal and apprehended him, allowing the woman to break free.
So, suddenly, what is her doing a kind of bump into him pickpocket is made to look like, oh, he's assaulting her. Yeah.
The man fought so hard against the woman and his attackers that 3 of his plastic cash cards were crushed in his hand. They tackled him to the floor and called the police. By chance, 2 young, inexperienced police officers who were arresting a shoplifter nearby were already at the scene to provide assistance. They handcuffed the man and forced him to lie down on the ground, despite his protests and pleas of innocence. That was when they noticed the woman had disappeared.
So, yeah. She truly takes on the name of the Phantom because don't know who she is, no real clue what she looks like. Because again, more than likely, her face was covered by a mask. And yeah. She's now just gone. Even though her yelling and struggling is apparently what brought the attention of the men and the police. Now, he fighting back and being forced to the ground may have caused a heart attack or stroke to happen. We have seen it happen in other cases where force is used on an individual and it causes severe health issues.
The man was pressed to the floor with a policeman on top of him for 20 minutes, despite his advanced age. When he tried to rise up from the ground, the police forced him back down. Eyewitnesses at the scene said that one policeman was so aggressive he broke a lens of the victim's glasses and caused him to groan in a very unusual way. He soon began vomiting and lost consciousness, but the 25-year-old policeman who arrested him refused to uncuff him or even take notice of his dire circumstances.
So yeah, like I said, at that point, more than likely what's happened is it's caused serious health issues with the elderly man. Yeah. Just, and again, the woman is already gone.
When more police came onto the scene and saw the handling of the situation, they finally uncuffed him and called an ambulance. But by that time it was too late.
Yeah.
The dangerously high blood pressure caused by the stress of the situation and subsequent police brutality caused arrhythmia and heart failure. His brain shut down and he died the next day. The day after his death, without testimony from the mysterious woman or any true evidence, the police unashamedly filed charges against the deceased victim. Fortunately, some within the police force became suspicious about the woman.
So yeah, the man is slapped with charges even though he's now dead. Because, honestly, they don't know who the woman is. But situations made it seem like, oh, he was assaulting her.
They investigated the CCTV footage at the ATM corner and determined that the man was completely innocent. In 2005, 1 year after the incident, they released 2 images of the woman taken from the CCTV footage to the public. Not since the infamous Glico case has this been done in Japan. The images were of low quality, and due to the...
So, we get a look at supposedly the face, but again, I'm curious as if this is more than likely just a mask. She's wearing a hood or something to kind of give herself cover. That's what's supposed to be her baby in a sling. Again, I'm wondering, if that's even a real baby. It may be something like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Just to give it that look of authenticity.
Almost inhumane facial features, the public began calling the woman a monster or phantom. Of course, releasing the images 1 year after the incident happened meant that the likelihood of finding the woman or any evidence was significantly reduced. At the time of the crime, the woman was estimated to be aged between 25 and 30 years old, and the baby she was carrying on her chest was between 2 and 3 years old. She was thought to be Japanese.
Given if it is a real baby. Again, she may have went to a bit of an extremity to keep her identity hidden. So yeah.
155 to 160 centimeters tall, to have shoulder-length brown hair, and have a face that was described as unusual. In fact, many have commented online that her face doesn't even look human. She was wearing dark clothes during the incident, and despite touching the man's cash cards, left no fingerprints at the scene. Other than screaming thief at the victim, she didn't say anything to anyone. Strangely, she wasn't caught on any other CCTV at the exits of the Jusco shopping centre. It was as if she vanished into thin air. Even
Yeah. So we have this known assault on this elderly man. She tries to rob him, but when she struggles, she tries to make it look like he's assaulting her. A few citizens step in, as well as a couple of mall cops. In the dust up and confusion, she slips away. But it's that image, that still of, is it a mask? That she's wearing? Is the baby even real? It's interesting. But, what is really going on? So, yeah.
acknowledged that the man was not a criminal. Therefore, since his death, his reputation was stained with a false charge, which is much more serious in Japan than it is in the West. The date is also significant because it was just 1 month after the statute of limitations passed for the theft. In other words, they would not investigate the case any further and would not try to find the woman responsible. The bereaved family took the police to court for their unprofessionalism. The police recognized that a mistake was made, but claimed that excessive force was not used. They even went as far as to say that the arrest of the man did not cause his death. The family was originally paid a measly $125 compensation for the death in May 2011. However,
Hey, our family member died because of police treatment. You get $125 here. Really? But anyway, we'll stop there because I don't think they have too much more on the actual case itself. So those are a lot of what the case deals with. Also check out the creators. Always give them content. Here, I'll give you all a like. Where was the other one? Give you a like. Okay. But, like I said, Kyoto Roboto and what was his name? Creeper Nick. So yeah, check out their stuff. I'd prefer to put my own content together, but unfortunately, there's just so little we really know. We really have access to on the case. all I could really give you on my own was the fact that they're no longer called necessarily Jusco markets. So, or Jusco. But yeah. It is an interesting tale. I definitely I wanted to talk about this one somehow. Again, I would prefer to be able to use content of my own or be able to apply it my own, but unfortunately, just for the lack of information on what there is on the video, I figured the best way is to play the videos others have on it and make comments on my own. But yeah, yeah. Like I said, what I think we have here is a young woman wearing a mask. And like I said, I even doubt the baby was a real baby. Just needed something to give off the appearance that her focus was elsewhere. She bumps into the guy trying to swipe money and cards from him. Um, but isn't very successful and has to resort to trying to make it seem as if he was assaulting her, yelling thief. They say even though when she was trying to swipe everything, it didn't look as though she left any fingerprints on his cards. So, again, what's really going on? But yeah, the case has never had a real conclusion. They originally tried to charge the man with assault, even though he had died, and they had to turn around and say, no, he was wrong. So, yeah. But I think we'll go ahead and end this episode here. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Jusco or Jusco Phantom. But as always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.